Hello, everybody. We are on our way to check in with Vivian Sayward of Vivacity Sportswear to see how she's pivoting from B2B to B2C and what that means for her marketing message. Vivian built the business based on her lifestyle and interests and brought that message to her tribe. She started with what she knew best and focused on active women, whether for business, travel, golf, or cruise life. She had early success selling to cruise lines, which helped her scale, but it also distanced her from direct-to-consumer feedback and locked her into a model and sales channel that might not always be there. Pandemic much? So let's see what she's doing to optimize her consumer engagement and build D2C marketing channels. We'll see you on the road. Vivian, thanks for joining us. We really are excited to hear all about what Vivacity Sportswear is doing and how you've built this business from the ground up. Thanks for joining us.
Thank you very much for having me.
Could you tell us a little bit about the story behind the brand, really who you are and what it is that drove you to start this brand?
You know, I guess I'm a builder and a connector. I love building things. I love connecting people, organizations, groups. It's a passion of mine. I'm not quite sure how I got here, but somehow it happened. But I had a very traditional career, went through college, then started my career in corporate America and worked there for many years, first in high tech and then later on in biotech pharma, mostly in business related fields, finance, accounting, business development, marketing. But there was something missing. I mean, I had an amazing experience, traveled quite a bit, but met some and worked with some amazing people. But I really wanted to build something. One day I started playing golf. My husband's an avid golfer. And I just couldn't find anything to wear out on the course. And in fact, I was offended by what was being presented to women, what presumably women looked like, wanted to wear on the golf course, which was a man's shirt cut short, and that's a woman's polo. And so finally one day I must have been complaining enough because my husband turned to me and said, then do something about it. So I was really, really fortunate enough to find out. I'm based in San Diego, and I found out that there was a small community here of garment manufacturers who had survived the offshoring when everyone went overseas back in the 80s and 90s. Small group of highly talented people were still here, still doing work here. So I connected with them. Worked with quite a few people and started building this business. And it's been really tremendous. I realized that there were women out there like me who like to travel, who are active, who want clothing that is well made, that is sustainable, that lasts, well fabricated, classical styling, and made for women of all, shapes and sizes. So
You set out to build a brand. You made some decisions early on as to whom you're going to focus on, and then also how you were going to sell it. Could you talk a little bit about the channels you started out selling on?
So I went to introduce the line, since no one knew me, no one knew anything about this. I kind of went to nearby. I live in San Diego, so there are a lot of golf courses nearby here. Kind of went to some of those golf courses and essentially said, listen, love to do a trunk show. Let me show you. Let's see if there's an audience here. And I'd love to get feedback as well from customers, potential customers. So that's how I started. Started very in a traditional golf setting. From there, worked with different reps who we focused on the Southeast, the Southwest areas of resorts and whatnot. And that's where I started. But I soon realized, coming from a business background, it takes a lot of money to start a clothing line, and you want your bills being paid too. And it was a tough road there. Even though we were in some really nice locations, it took a long time to get those bills paid and get those invoices paid. So I knew I had to pivot pretty quickly. And I realized just in some of the women, as the women were buying these clothes, they were using them to travel. They were traveling when they were going overseas because they were comfortable. They fit really well, but they were really comfortable and really easy to take care of. And they felt comfortable, and they felt like they were nicely dressed when they were getting on the plane and getting off the plane. So that's where we started to pivot, and that's where we kind of dove much more into the resort and cruise line area.
So that was really a B2B sale. And then at what point did you transition to B2C?
Well, I always had a website. We didn't spend too much time on it, but it was really interesting. You would get, we started building a nice little audience based on the feedback, the sales that we were getting on these cruise ships. We started getting sales. We'd get calls, we'd get people jumping online after getting off a cruise and wanting to find out more about the brand after they saw what they bought, they tried, and that's where we started getting a nice following from that standpoint. So it was more, that kind of second referral point from an actual in-shop experience.
Let's talk a little bit about expansion and digital marketing. First of all, how do you identify where your brand is currently around the world in terms of a digital kind of presence, and how do you determine where you want to go next?
I have an idea. I have my avatar as far as my my client, my customer. I call her Gina, and she travels, and she's career oriented, and she's very active, and she's very curious, and she what she drives a nicer car. Where she shops, she loves unique things and so forth. Well, Gina doesn't always exist just in the US. There are Ginas throughout the world. And where are they? And are their needs being met? I spoke with a few folks. For example, I spoke with someone who used to work at eBay. He was head of marketing there, and he told me how that one market in Latin America was really being underserved. And there is this movement for a lot of, the Amazons have set up shop in Mexico as their launching pad into the rest of Latin America. Plus Mexico is the next big market for them. So really understanding that, how do they better serve that clientele that does have the means, that does want to find this type of product, and would be a next expansion step. So I kind of took that line and worked that way. And really got more initially anecdotal, and then later on, as we started to do some Google campaigns, some ads, understanding where they were coming from and why.
It's interesting when you're investing in digital marketing, you get a lot more bang for your buck in Latin America because you're not competing as intensely as you do for mindshare here in the US.
And the marketplaces that are building up. I mean, there's a reason why some of these online platforms are getting are growing significantly, especially over the last few years. So beyond the Amazons and so forth, like Lineo and a few others.
What are the top 3 markets that you would go into starting right now in terms of spend?
Right now it would be Mexico, Colombia, and Peru to start.
And that's something that's also birthed by your own familiarity as somebody from Bogota and a little bit more of the conversations you've been having, correct?
Absolutely. And again, yes, having those conversations, when I've done some work, because we do manufacture here in California, but I'm always looking for as I'm looking at new fabrics, new materials, new ways of doing things. I've definitely been working a little bit more in Mexico. And interestingly enough, I ended up setting up a meeting with Amazon Mexico a couple years ago when I was back down in Mexico City. And just seeing how they were growing and what they were doing and the expansions they were doing. And every time I'd go into Mexico, I'd see one more little advertising for Mexico, Amazon Mexico, or another platform and so forth. So I realized that there was something going on here.
What have you done currently to optimize your website?
With everything going on and refocusing now on a digital platform, more of a digital marketing platform, we are definitely have kind of taken a step back and seen, okay, this is what we're doing right now. This is the kind of traffic we're getting. How do we bring more in? Definitely starting off with the whole analysis on a SEO analysis, keywords, looking at our photography, looking at our whole look and feel. Are we bringing in customers? Can they navigate well into our website? Do they know how to buy something quickly? Where are they getting stuck? So really relying on a lot more digital tools. I'm working with a very small marketing agency that's helping me with this.
Can you talk a little bit specifically about what they're doing and what tools?
There were, for example, we just to look at traffic, we're looking at, we implemented Hotjar. And so I can see, it records what a person's journey is on the website. Where do they get stuck? And you can just tell, where are they clicking, where are they not clicking, why is that? Basic Google Analytic tools, understanding where's that drop off, why are they leaving, how long are they staying on your site, and why, and and where is that stuck point there.
And what they do is they track where the user is getting stuck, the friction points, all the way down to the checkout.
Yeah, it's almost like a heat map, and it shows you where, and it records it. It records it. If you want, you can record everybody, but you can look through and see if someone, if I jumped into Vivacity and I started on the home page and then I jumped into the top, the top section, and I jumped into a particular piece, it shows that whole journey.
What call to actions did you put on the homepage and how?
Pretty much we started off with, this is who we are. This is what we do. We've had, before we had sliders, homepage sliders that would thumb through. Well, people don't have that amount of time. Don't spend that amount of time. So just have one simple slider. This is who we are. We're everyday fashion. And at this moment in time, many of us are working from home, and we'll probably continue to be working from home. Let's look comfortable and let's look great for that next Zoom call. Here's where you need to go. And then just this is where you can learn about us outside of our website, maybe interviews I've done or from other publications. We've got a few things there. And then here's some best-selling items. And these best-selling items down below say, here's the piece, the price, and shop. This is where you can buy it. Boom.
Okay, so quick advice to other entrepreneurs who are setting up their B2C cross-border digital strategy. Gosh,
there are so many, I've been so impressed with so many programs that are out there. Statewide is what, in our case, California and also federal. There are programs out there that can help U.S.-based companies export. And I definitely encourage folks to look at that. It's really important to get some funding. Yes.
STEP grant. Have you applied for a STEP grant, and what is it?
Yes. STEP grant is the State Trade Expansion Program. We just received approval for that. So we're really excited about that. And that's to your point, that's when our digital marketing is really expanding from that standpoint. So we're doing with that grant, I think it goes up to right now it was at $3,000. It's now up to $5,000. They will reimburse you on the expenses that you have incurred for things that you are doing to export products. So this includes, in our case, SEO, translation, any type of services from the U.S. Trade Office too.
Vivian, again, thanks so much for spending some time with us. It's really helpful for us to understand what you're doing and to help other entrepreneurs figure out how to adapt, adjust, and grow.
Thank you so much, Josh. I so appreciate the opportunity to speak to you all.
Okay, that was inspiring insight that informs any business looking to pivot from wholesale to D2C. We learned you can build from who you are and lean into your culture and linguistic heritage. You can start seeding your audience in different markets on existing social media accounts and run basic campaigns, and leverage government resources where possible. Subscribe, follow us, whatever you need to do to learn more from interviews from brands around the world on how they're staying local and going global. This is VanBassador.